Hello. Hi. Let me fix the camera because I thought I was in the right space, but it's kind of awkward because it's at an angle and I haven't been able to make my desk more, I don't know, more cleaned up. I came from Kharkiv and everything is everywhere. So, give me a second. Oh, hi. Hi, Diane. Hi, Juju. Happy. How did the interview go? I got offered the job. I'm signing the contract next week. And after that, I will tell you what's going on. Because, first sign the contract, then tell you what's going on. Because, again, oh, I think this is better. At least I'm sort of facing the camera. Not super facing the camera, but better facing the camera. Okay. Let me set up TikTok as well. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, that's so cute. How is everyone's day going? Let me do. So Liv is in the other room and she's trying to get out, but she's not she is a human there, so she should be fine. But she is scratching on the door. I've been having difficulties with Liv because Cindy is trained and Liv is not trained at all. And she's very cute, but she's so untrained. And these dogs were not letting me sleep yesterday at all. They were curling all over me. So that was great. That was lovely. Loved it. Awesome sauce. Hi, Odin. Hi, Praxis. Which interview? Oh, hi, Angel. Hello. Hello. Oh, hi, Joe. Hi, Bob. Nice shirt. Thanks. I did not go to Harvard. Hi, Jason. I immediately have to put that out there. I didn't go to Harvard. I just really freaking like the sweater. And that's all. I do like Harvard. They have a really great Ukrainian studies department. Hope you're going well. Australian speak that I don't understand. Going well. Where am I going? Hi, Lintello. Aren't you also from Australia? Or am I crazy? I think I'm crazy. I grew up a mile from Harvard. Oh, that's cool. Don't jinx it. Yeah, that's why. So I'm not gonna tell you what the job is until the contract is signed and everything is put in place. Because when it is, then I'm going to elaborate more on it. But it is a media job and it is camera facing, and I'm kind of excited for it. And I think that it's gonna be really cool, and a lot more people are gonna be able to see and hear interviews and sort of the things that I want to talk about when we're talking about Ukraine. We're all going somewhere. Sandberg just hopes you're going there well. Yeah, well, I mean, Australian dialect of English is not even real English, so I'm kidding. Please, no one take that personally. I'm joking. Harvard Chup is way better than yeah, it is. Harvard Chup is really cool. I like Harvard Chup. I actually really like that area in general. It's a nice area. Graham, oh my gosh, hi. Also better than Kiwis. I don't know. Sandra is a Kiwi and we love Sandra here. Or Sandra, I always say it so American. Music live later, that's cool. Hi, Nick. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for people to come in. Is you dissing my Newfoundlanders? Hi, Foodie. H stands for Harry Potter for me. Well, this is a Harvard sweater, but it could be N for my mom's name, Natalia. It could be a lot of different things. It's all up to interpretation. Oh my gosh, hi Mashbook. Also, thank you for your donation. I got it. I just didn't. I have to go on VPN to access Venmo, so I see the text message, but I haven't had the chance to go in and respond to it yet. Hi. Also, hello, and oh, hi, Nicholas. Thank you so much. Great to hear that. Hi, Notabotter. Changing words after they started American. Sometimes English isn't English. Sometimes English doesn't English. That's all. Hi, Brandy. Okay, speaking of donations, so I received some donations from Rick people after the video. So for the drones for third separate assault for the 6 DJI Mavic Pro drones, I have received, let me see, because I need to, so I've added, one second, sorry. I'm gonna turn on VPN because I've added most things except for one. Oh, hi, John. Okay, most things except for one. 1 second. Okay, plus 30. So we are at $4,407.06. I am here just driving. Hello. Oh, hi, Julian. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. And Daku Marta. Hi, Kat. So I'm going to try to do the news kind of like at a reasonable speed today because it is midnight and it is late. And so we're going to try to do that in a reasonable amount of time. Also, if anybody wants to donate to the fundraiser, we're still running a fundraiser for third separate assault brigade for 6 DJI Mavic 3 Pro drones. And the link to donate is in my link in bio. There is Venmo, there is PayPal, there is Revolut, there is Monobank. And also Privatbank launched envelopes. So they're kind of like jars in Monobank. So I'm gonna probably open that if that's more convenient for someone. And yeah. And so if you would like to donate, the link for sorry, I'm like so slow today. I'm really tired, but the link to do that is in my link in bio. And then also on YouTube, it's right here. I'm gonna pin it so you can easier see it. Cake, lip gloss, and unicorn. Oh, did you they got to you, right? Also, hi Don and Andreas. Hallo, schön dich wieder zu sehen. I can't like speak today. Tschüss. Auf dir. Or auch auf dir. And yeah. Yeah. Did you receive them? Because all of the packages should have arrived at this point. And if you haven't for some reason, then please, oh, good, awesome. Happy to hear that. Okay, Carolyn, hello. So there are not that many news today, but they are very, but some of them are very good. First of all, oh, that's awesome. What did you make on your ACT? What is that? Was bringen Waffen ohne Milch für Europa? 1 second, sorry. I'm like in between two things, and I'll first answer this. So I don't know what ACT is. I mean, like, do you mean SATs? And do you mean what did you get instead of what did you make? But so there are not that many things that happened today, but the things that did happen are quite interesting to discuss. And also, F-16s are in Ukraine, so that's big. There is a urgent report on Ukraine War Brief Substack. So if you want to read about that, then it's available there. And the link to the Substack is also in link in bio. It's under the People's Media channel that's linked in link in bio. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of words. Oh, Kat. So we got another donation. Look at you, Kat. And we are now at $4,427.06. And 1 second. 1 second. I am trying to do something really quick. And I will get there in a minute. Sorry. So what did I? Yay, F-16 give Ukraine wings for freedom, Zelensky said. Yeah, that was a very nice quote. It was actually a very poetic quote. I thought it was a very good speech when he did it. He also talked to, well, not talked to Donald Trump. He talked at Donald Trump, and he basically said that, you know, if you think that you can end the war in 24 hours, then come to Kyiv, Ukraine. Like, I'm personally inviting you again. And he said that it was a very dangerous thing to say, which that's true. It is very true. Because it's not something that you can actually, accomplish and throw around is really dangerous, because the only way that Donald Trump can end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours is, well, if it still wouldn't happen in 24 hours, that's an exaggeration, but he could just stop all the weapon supplies and he can start like supplying weapons to Russia or something. Or like he can completely like try and succumb to Putin and try to negotiate Ukraine literally giving up territory, which should not be happening. So the only way that Trump could end the war in Ukraine is he would end the war as in like active warfare combat, but he would perpetuate the suffering. No one other than Putin and Russians have the power to stop the war until the Ukrainian army defeats the Russian army. And yeah, the only way you can really stop the war before that happens is by pulling Russian troops out of Ukraine. That's all. And we also got another donation. So you guys, I never know if I should be reading your names or not, so I'm just going to do it anonymously. But we got another $30, and or I said, well, so not everybody has heard that. But if you don't want me to read your name, I guess just write that in the description. And I would say it's Jayun, right? If not, then do tell me and I will pronounce it correctly. So it's $4,457.06. So I don't know if you guys have heard the speech from a British defense minister the other day, but it was like a very, very strong worded speech. And he said that we have officially ended the post-World War II era, and we have now moved on to the pre-World War III era. And it might sound, so there are two reasons why he would be saying that. Europe is finally waking up, or the Western world is finally waking up and understanding what threat Russia, Iran, and North Korea altogether pose. And as we call it, I mean, it's a very poetic, exaggerated sounding name, but it's right. Like these are unhinged dictatorships that have come together to change the world order and to really, get their way or no way. And that is scary. And that's how world wars start. And we are already at the brink of that. And I mean it, I don't mean it, in a fear-mongering type of way, but in a way where like we should be conscientious of that. And there is a way to stop it. And the way to stop it is to give Ukraine all the weapons it needs so it can defeat Russia, which is like, Russia is the sort of like first, oh my gosh, I like literally am forgetting English today in the past couple of days. That's what happens when you live in Ukraine for a while. But Russia is sort of where all of it is brewing up, and Russia is the place that kind of stirs everything up. Hi. And stopping Russia through Ukraine would really just avoid casualties on the side of European militaries and Western militaries. So yeah. The head of NATO's military committee, Rob Bauer, has warned that civilians in the West should prepare for an all-out war with Russia. We have to realize it's not a given that we are in peace, and that's why we, NATO forces, are preparing for a conflict with Russia. But the discussion is much wider. It is also the industrial base and also the people that have to understand that they play a role. Admiral Bauer stated that Sweden had done the right thing by calling for its population to prepare for war earlier this month. It starts there, he said, the realization that not everything is plannable and not everything is going to be hunky-dory in the next 20 years. So here's the thing. He's not saying, right, like he's not fear-mongering, and he's not saying like, oh my gosh, start preparing for war. It's going to come, it's going to come to your doorstep tomorrow. But it is, it is a really reasonable thing to do, Daku. It is a reasonable thing to do in the current climate to prepare for war and to be ready if it does happen. So I do think that a lot of people take these statements as sort of like fear-mongering, as as heating up the situation. But I don't think they're meant to do that. I think they're just meant to say that if Ukraine had been more prepared with weapons, and if the West had reacted sooner, first of all, the full-scale invasion likely would not have happened, but also we wouldn't have lost so many people in the beginning to literally not having enough force to repel the invasion. So yeah, I think that every European country should be functioning in the state of the war might happen on our doorstep now. And it's better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. So there is really no harm in doing that. Then Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Ivan Havryluk, in an interview with Tagesspiegel, said that Russia should be deprived of nuclear weapons after the war. He was asked how he sees the war ending, at the negotiating table or on the battlefield. Havryluk answered that the war should end with the complete liberation of Ukraine's territory within the internationally recognized borders of 1991, and then preventive mechanisms should be created to ensure that Russia won't start preparing an invasion of Ukraine or any of its neighbors again, which can be done by Ukraine joining NATO and also a lot of international security protocols in place. Also, demilitarizing Russia is one of the top priorities. The same thing that we did with Germany after World War II should be done to Russia, and I mean times 100, because, and I've said this many times, but this is like a perspective that I think a lot of people unfortunately lack. And it's not to the detriment of the people, right? Because you would not have this perspective. But so Germany and Hitler, right? Hitler was one man in one generation, as in like Germany did not have these ideas and ideals before him. And he had touched the generation of adults, the generation of kids, and the generation of the elderly that were there in mass, right? So that's it's like one era. Like let's not say one generation, I would say one era. Russia has been under Tsars, and Russia has been an imperialistic power, hungry for blood and invading its neighbors and, erasing cultures for centuries. And I don't say that lightly. I feel like people throw this term around, but one of the things that we talked about with Rick the other day in the car, if you haven't seen that YouTube little bit when I met him in Kyiv in person, was that everybody talks about the Russian Revolution as if it was like people driven, right? As if the people threw over the Tsar. But that's not what happened. The people were influenced by another dictatorship, which were the Bolsheviks, and which was Lenin, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, can someone remove that Russian troll, because I have no interest in like fighting that. But honey bunny, I understand that you think that Orthodox churches all belong to Russia, but here's the thing: Zelensky was not erasing Orthodox churches. Ukraine banned Russian Orthodox Church. We have Ukrainian Orthodox Church, same religion, allegedly, except without the propaganda and the spying, but oh well. And yeah, that's what we banned. And it's not Zelensky who banned it. It's literally all of Ukrainian people, except for the crazy parishioners of the Russian Orthodox Church that are brainwashed, who want that to happen. So yeah. Where was I? I was at the, hi Hawaiian guy. I was at the point where I was saying, oh, hi Sally. Hi from Ohio Oblast. Oh my God, I love that. But so what I was saying is that Russia has been doing this for centuries, and that people overestimate, like people talk about the Russian people and their great ability to overthrow the government and like fight for justice and stuff, and they bring up the Russian Revolution. But have you thought about the fact that it's not people driven? And it wasn't organized by the people. It was organized by Lenin and the Bolsheviks. Like it was not organized by the Russian people. It was one Tsar changed for another Tsar. Like Maidan was a fully people-driven revolution. There wasn't a leader on Maidan. There was a leader in the Russian Revolution, and they were not fighting for democracy. They were fighting for another idealistic dictatorship. Because, you know, an empire under a Tsar is a dictatorship because a Tsar is a dictator. But also the Soviet Union, which ultimately resulted from the Russian Revolution, also a dictatorship, that were brought upon the people were dictatorial. And again, not a people-driven revolution. It's just another revolution where another governing body and another another set of political ambitions just took over and got the people on their side. And very often when Russians say that they can't protest, they say they can't protest because they don't have a good opposition leader. So it's like they can't do anything on their own, and they can't do anything that's people driven. They need a leader, right? And it's so like comical to me because you don't need a leader to protest and overthrow your government that you say you are so not supportive of. Hi, Chad. So yeah, all wars end at the negotiating table with the signing of certain documents. I think the same will happen in our case. An agreement will be signed on the one side by a coalition of states that support Ukraine, and on the other side by Russia. And this document should include a clause on Russia's renunciation of nuclear weapons, because this state is a threat to the world, and that's very true. I don't think that any country has ever threatened nuclear war as much as Russia did. And that goes back as well. It's a pattern. It's not just now, right? It's actually a pattern dating back to the Cold War. EU considers a new package of sanctions against Russia and plans to approve it by February 24th, the 2-year mark of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. According to the article in Bloomberg, among the potential measures could be the new trade restrictions and a crackdown on Russia's continued attempts to circumvent EU sanctions through third countries and companies inside the European Union. The defense ministers of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania have approved the establishment of a joint Baltic defense zone along the eastern border, where the countries share borders with Russia and Belarus, as announced by the Ministry of Defense of Estonia. You know, finally. The agreement, signed by Hanna Pevkur, Andris Spruts, and Arvidas Anušauskas, Taz, please correct me if I'm wrong, outlines the creation of a defense zone in the coming years, comprising various defense structures along the border of the 3 Baltic states. The primary purpose is to deter and, if necessary, protect against potential military threats. Estonia has revealed plans to construct a defense line on the eastern border, consisting of approximately 600 concrete bunkers. Thank you, Bob. Each bunker, designed for 10 people, will have a size of 30 to 35 square meters. Furthermore, Estonia has initiated the construction of a border fence with Russia. In December, Tallinn announced the completion of the second stage, involving a 40-kilometer fence along the southern border. The concept of these defense structures aligns with the decision made at the NATO summit in Madrid, emphasizing the protection of allies from the first meter of their territory. The Ministry of Defense of Estonia notes that the dispersed placement of facilities will consider enemy analysis, the environment, and the combat plan of the country's defense forces. During peacetime, no explosive devices, barbed wire, or other mobile deterrents will be deployed. Commenting on the initiative, Pivkur said, Russia's war in Ukraine highlighted the need for physical protection facilities of the border, in addition to equipment, ammunition, and manpower. Our aim is to ensure the people of Estonia feel secure, and if any risk arises, we will be prepared for various scenarios sooner rather than later. So, yeah, so it's I mean, it's not, I don't think there is much commentary needed about why the Baltics feel such an urgent need to protect themselves and to reinforce their borders in case Russia does decide to invade. Because here's the thing, I hate agreeing with Nikki Haley. And hi, Barry. And I know there is now like this wave of like appreciation of Nikki Haley going on, but when she was in the UN and up until recently, all of her resolution votes were against Ukraine, and she just changed her tune when she decided to run for president. And to me, it looks like she's just trying to get the array of voters that are not going to vote for Trump, because there are many pro-Ukrainian Republicans. Also, Nikki Haley is incredibly fascist in her ideas otherwise. She's like against immigration, she's against like bodily autonomy, she's against a lot of things. And she's basically Trump in a female body and pro-Ukrainian, but not much better. So I don't know why I suddenly brought up Nikki Haley. I actually got lost in my own thoughts, but yeah, I think it's important for politicians to understand the threat, and I think it's important for politicians to act on it, but also it's important for the people to not vote for politicians that are using Ukraine for their political careers. It's the sweatshirt. It's not a sweatshirt, it's a sweater. Okay, representatives of American intelligence believe that in the short term, the reduction of US funding will not have a significant impact on hostilities in Ukraine. But in the long term, the absence of American aid may allow Moscow to regain momentum by increasing the supply of weapons and taking advantage of the support of Iran and North Korea, one of the interlocutors told CNN. A female version of Trump sounds disturbing. Literally any version of Trump sounds disturbing. Oh, hi, Michael. Yeah, more Trump-alikes is really not what the world needs by any means. But yes, and yeah, I mean, the U.S. sort of like the U.S. aid situation is certainly very detrimental to Ukraine, but in the long term, in the short term, it's not likely to cause a lot of disturbances at the front, especially since Europe has really stepped up their game. And France recently announced a package of very specific ammunition for Ukraine that is meant for very specific aircraft. And so why would France give Ukraine all that ammo and all those weapons for a very specific type of aircraft if the aircraft is not soon to be, if the aircraft is not up in the air for discussion? Also, Odin, what's the cool thing that you did? You said that earlier and I forgot to ask. So Oseas Lopez, Ukraine is my country. Yemen is not. So I feel like Yemenis should be given word about Yemen. And, if Yemenis have things to say about Yemen, and if I see anything like that on my feed, I will boost it. But I talk about my country that I know a lot about because, personal experience and also a lot of knowledge dating back to literally starting school. Cool, right? Where was I? Okay, it's high time to reassess the situation regarding weapons production in Europe. The Spectator examines whether Europe can match Russia's pace in creating weapons. Following the unsuccessful Kyiv in 3 days scenario, the Russian Federation swiftly initiated weapons production. By the end of 2022, some defense plants had transitioned to 24-hour operations. As per Rostec's head, Chemezov, tank production had surged 7-fold. Artillery more than doubled, and certain types of ammunition increased 60-fold by 2023. It is actually worth pointing out that even though the production of weapons has increased significantly, the quality has decreased significantly. So a lot of the weapons that are being produced by Russia misfire, a lot of them don't fire, a lot of them are like duds, and while there are a lot more while there is a lot more capacity in production, the quality of such production is suffering because they are making those weapons at plants that are not necessarily meant for weapons production, and also they are trying to develop these like new weapons and produce them under circumstances that are not favorable. They do not have a lot of materials that they need, and so they are producing like shit quality ammo. Sorry, for lack of a better word. So a lot of it just doesn't work as intended. Alrighty, Europe unprepared for such developments, faces challenges, the publication observes. Despite EU countries pledging over 230 billion euros for arsenal modernization since the war's onset, old Europe grapples with two formidable tasks: updating its defense systems and providing assistance to Ukraine. While the EU can currently produce 400,000 shells annually, Estonian Defense Minister Hanno Pevkur contends that over 3 million shells are required yearly for the next decade, including shipments to Ukraine. The process is hindered by the prevalence of privately owned arms factories in Europe. The text argues for Europe to abandon its market-oriented approach to weapons and bring the majority of its industry under state control. A more flexible approach is necessary to minimize costs and maximize productivity. So if I'm going to use like a very everyday type of language to describe this, but if Europe gets its head out of its ass, it definitely can match Russia's production. But for that, Europe needs to stop like stalling and dragging, and so Europe is going to vote on taking away the right of veto from Viktor Orban. And they should totally vote for that, and they should totally take it away, because if they do, that's going to like eliminate a lot of roadblocks. And one massive, very, very massive roadblock is Viktor Orban. I was going to make a joke, but then I realized, you know what? I'm not Russians, and I'm not going to like make fun of Viktor Orban's appearance. But you know, it's a very large roadblock. Oh my god, I went to not seeing chat. Wasn't on see all. Oh no. Wait. I believe that we need another thing. We need to hunt down spies. Yes, you definitely do need to hunt down spies, because Russia has infiltrated so many countries, and they truly do have a lot of their assets in most countries abroad, really. And I mean, these assets are at universities, they're university professors, and like people you would never think of, because you think like, oh, that's just, you know, a person who works in Russian literature. But no, Russian literature professors abroad get grants and a lot of money from Russia to spread Russian disinformation and to propagate perpetuate propaganda. And that's an actual mission. Same as like, you know, Russian churches are propaganda outlets. They also work as spy organizations. There are so many politicians that are indebted to like Russians one way or the other, and they do their dirty work. So yes, we do really need to get rid of spy by spy to get rid of Russian institutions and Russian infestation, because that's the best way I can call it, is the Russian infestation. Okay, today it was revealed that the Russian Federation utilized a rare 4-ton P-35 anti-ship missile from the 1960s in an attack on Ukraine. Firstly, it's essential to highlight its characteristics. According to experts, its range reaches up to 300 kilometers with a 1-ton warhead. Despite being inaccurate, it boasts significant power, akin to the Kh-22. Military expert Ivan Karachevsky notes that this news falls border between good and great. He points out that a similar situation occurred when Russians employed the decommissioned X-22 missile in 2010 to target Ukraine. Describing the P-35 as ancient, Kharkiv raises concerns about potential damage to civil infrastructure or the environment upon impact. The missile's 900 kg warhead, coupled with its supersonic cruise capability, poses a considerable threat. Kharkiv underscores the need for Patriot anti-aircraft systems in Ukraine to intercept the P-35, emphasizing the uncertainty surrounding the use of outdated weaponry by occupiers. So actually, Patriots are super useful not only for air defense, but also for taking down Russian aircraft like the A-50 that was taken down over Crimea. So it was actually an operation that was very complicated and planned in advance, where Ukrainians blinded Russians in a lot of areas in Crimea, knowing that they would bring the A-50 over. And so while that was happening, we moved the Patriot system closer to, into the range of Crimea. And so the idea was, second to that A up in the air, Ukraine is just going to take it down, and that's exactly what happened. So that was a very good plan. And so systems like Patriots, like Vampires, like all air defense are super important, and they're not only used as air defense, they're also used in a lot of very complex operations. So yeah. There is another problem in the EU, not just Orban, but now Slovakia's FICO. Yeah, FICO is a problem, but the way that Slovakia is organized, FICO does not have nearly as much power as like people thought at first. He is controlled by their government, and they do have the final say. And so all of these like ideas that he had by not supporting Ukraine militarily and stuff like that did not come to fruition, because there are checks and balances, and that is very good news. What else? Let me see something. There is quite a bit that I do need to talk about today. I'm just like trying to get my, my shit together, because I'm forgetting a lot of stuff because I'm tired. Quick reminder for those of you who just got here, we are running a fundraiser. We are running a fundraiser for Third Separate Assault Brigade, and it's for 6 DJI Mavic 3 Pro reconnaissance drones. And we are at about almost 2 drones, which is $4,457.06. And if you would like to donate to the fundraiser, you can go to my link in bio on TikTok. So it's beacons.ai. You will see it right there. You click on it, and there is going to be like a section called Fundraiser, and it's going to tell you everything about the fundraiser and what's happening and where. Thank you. And where the funds are going. Here's Grumpy sharing the fundraiser link. So you can go to that fundraiser link. There's PayPal, Venmo, Monobank, Jar, and also Revolut. For those of you who are European, and if you are on YouTube, then the link is pinned right here. And all of the donations that come during the live, I announce and I add them to the total. And if they come after the live, then I just add them to the total. And normally I would be, oh, thank you, Mashbook. So plus $37 to the fundraiser. Thank you. And we are at $4,494.06. So, so yeah, that's quite an amount. We're almost, we're a little over $500 away from 2 whole drones. So that's really cool. And if basically what I was saying is that all the donations are going to be announced, and if they are going to be outside of the live hours, then they're just going to be added to the total. And normally I keep like a tab on Twitter, so I update people, but I have been pretty bad about that. I've just been adding it and telling you the new amount in the beginning of the lives, because I've been just very busy, and it's just been difficult. Hi, Jillian. But I'm going to improve, hopefully today. That's on my docket. But I've just been kind of running around doing a lot of stuff and preparing for, a move to Kyiv. Are you living in Ukraine currently? Yes, I am in Lviv right now. Japan landed the SLIM spacecraft on the moon, becoming the 5th country to achieve the feat through the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, which is like really cool. I know this is not Ukraine related, but I do like to talk a bit about world news, because that's just like a very cool event, and I think it deserves some publicity. Oh my gosh, there is a video from United 24 about Kharkiv, and the video literally emphasizes the don't cry, and it just sort of like very, it brings tears to my face because I'll show you the video. So the Band-Aid says don't cry. Also, oh my gosh, we got another $20, which is $4,514.06. And thank you, Diana Banana. It's actually very cute. But so here is, so this video makes me really sad. But that's a Band-Aid that says don't cry, and it's being put onto all of the damaged infrastructure of Kharkiv by volunteers. So I was actually, so on my train back from Kyiv this time around, I overslept my train. It was supposed to be at 6. I didn't sleep the night before because my compartment mate was snoring till like 4:30 in the morning really loudly. So I had like hours of sleep. I was in a hotel room in Kyiv, or like an Airbnb, and it was really hot there. It was like 75 degrees Fahrenheit, probably like 30 degrees Celsius. And hi, Armin. And I like also had 2 hours of sleep, so I overslept my train, and I got the next train. And so I was sitting with this like very lovely gentleman from Kharkiv who was like, I got this like train seat that had a table in between like the seats, and they were facing each other. And so the person that was sitting in front of me was like very, very, very nice. Hallo, wie geht es dir? Mir geht's gut und du? So yeah, so there's that. We were talking about it, and so he owns a large development company in Kharkiv, and he basically, as soon as the war started, he evacuated a lot of people from Kharkiv in trucks, and he's distributed a lot of humanitarian aid, and he also created 2 very cool things, which one of them is called Dobrobud. And so his company basically renews damaged infrastructure for free, and they work with a lot of European sponsors that will send them tiles and send them windows and stuff like that. And he basically he gives labor for free to do those renovations and to do that reconstruction. And another thing that he did is so he calculated, or he's listened to experts and calculated that it will take 1.5 million builders, like contractors, people who are skilled in building and renovations, and contractors basically, to rebuild Ukraine in a reasonable amount of time. Before the war, there were 300,000 registered contractors, and now no one knows. And so he opened a free school for anyone who wants to join to learn the building trade, or contractor trade. And so the people who graduate his school that they really like, they hire into his company. And the other ones, they're free to do what they want. They can volunteer, they can find a different job, they can own their own company. And this is an initiative that he has been working on. And he actually was on his way to go to the United States to go to a conference in San Francisco and to actually talk about all these charitable things, and to bring up some more initiatives. And it was a very great conversation. And Kharkiv, Kharkiv suffers all the time. There are missile strikes in Kharkiv all the time. And it's just very nice to know that someone in Kharkiv is, who is a native Kharkivite, who is doing so much phenomenal work. I wish I could tell you more, but it's just it would take hours. And I actually, so that train was 8 hours, and I think I spent 7.5 of them or 7 talking to this man. We did exchange contacts, and I put him in touch with a flood prevention and mitigation specialist that I know, who's fantastic. If you're watching, you know who you are. And they might be, working together to sort of develop a way for Ukraine to rebuild in short periods of time after disasters, because that's something that the US knows how to do and Ukraine doesn't. And so that's something that he's interested in, like learning and spreading knowledge about. And so, yeah, it's really, really cool. And I'm likely going, when I do go to Kharkiv for my training course, I am going to I've agreed with him that I would like follow him around and he would show me all the charitable initiatives that have been going on, the way that humanitarian aid is being distributed in Kharkiv, how all of this is being done, how they rebuild houses and buildings and just damaged infrastructure. And also, we would walk around Kharkiv and film all the destruction that had happened. And I'm, as much as like this is a horrendous subject, I'm actually very excited to go do that, because I'm very excited to show the world what, day-to-day life in Kharkiv is like while it's being shelled. It is what it is. Serbian actor and Moscow's close ally Milos Bikovic to star in The White Lotus season 3. Why is that a problem? United 24 will tell you.
A genocide supporter has joined the cast of the HBO dark comedy, The White Lotus.
Jesus H. Christ.
Meet Milos Bikovic, a Serbian actor and the Kremlin's foreign mouthpiece.
Dear Vladimir Putin, Your Holiness.
Giant load of on a stick.
He gets Russian prizes for humble service to Russia's art and culture, participates in filming TV shows in occupied Crimea, and justifies its hostile Russian seizure.
The people of Crimea joined Russia themselves through a referendum.
Oh my God.
He stars in films directed by infamous propagandists like Mikhalkov. Russian passport.
Russia has accepted me since my first time here. I feel home here. I have inherited Russian values and they resonate with mine.
Bikovic denies democracy and horays Russia's terror against Ukraine.
Russia is moving on its path, and the world sees it as a hostile process.
Meanwhile, saying,
war and peace start in the heart and mind.
So what's wrong with you, Milos? If this is the dark side of the comedy, then HBO just did it really well.
Yeah, so The White Lotus is actually a really good TV show, and I've seen some of the bits of the first season. I know a lot of people who really, really love it. But apparently now they have a person with Russian values on there. So Russian values are like, murder. Oh, you know what? I'm actually going to show you what Russian values are like. I reposted something on Twitter, and it was this guy talking about why he wants to join the Russian military, and it was priceless. It was very pricelessly explaining everything about Russia. Well, so it's going to be mirrored on here actually, but he was basically saying that he wants to go to the Russian military because you can peacefully kill people without being punished for it, and you get paid for it, and also you can catch Nazis and you can torture them and like cut their balls off and stuff. So yeah, Russian values. I'm sure he inherited those. Hi Niels, oh my God. And how can we boycott HBO? I would say, I'm going to write a Twitter post about this, and I'm going to try to record a video. And I think it's just like tagging HBO, sharing it more and more is probably could change the situation. Give me 1 second. Okay. The Russians once again mined the perimeter of the occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Director General of the IAEA, Rafael Grossi, reported. The mines in the buffer zone between the internal and external fences of the facility, which were previously detected by the IAEA team and removed in November 2023, are again in place. This is a closed area and accessible to operational personnel of the station. The statement of the agency's website reads, fairly standard orc mentality. Yep, unfortunately. In 2022, Latvians united to support Ukraine's fight against the evil empire, much like in 1991 when they stood up to the Soviets to win back their independence, as Latvia marks the commemoration day of Defenders of the Barricades. We look at what made its help to Ukraine so unprecedented.
When Russia invaded Ukraine, Latvians knew what to do.
Oh, sorry. No.
When Russia invaded Ukraine, Latvians knew what to do. They remembered 1991, when they joined together at barricades to defend their freedom from the Soviet Empire. In 2022, they united to help Ukraine beat back the empire again. Latvian volunteer Rainis Poznaks asked people on Twitter to donate cars to Ukraine.
Hoping the people will donate for 2 maybe cars.
His rallying call helped get the Ukrainian army 2,200 vehicles. Eglis Zommers and his wife turned their garage into a candle factory to help keep our soldiers warm in trenches. 15-year-old Alexander got a 3D printer to make combat glasses for Ukrainians. Sarmita Zarul was voted a European of the Year after she went to Ukraine to save soldiers' lives as a paramedic. There are thousands like them. Big-hearted and supportive, they welcomed 58,000 Ukrainian refugees, 1 in 2 Latvians. Each family literally donated money to help Ukraine. The Latvian president revealed the help to Ukraine exceeds 600 million. They even handed all the helicopters of its own army. Latvia supports us with their hearts, funds, and even music. 14,000 Latvians sang the Ukrainian anthem at their biggest festival. They want Ukraine to win. They help as they know Ukraine is fighting for them too. Thank you for standing by our side.
Paldies, Latvia.
Yeah, Latvians, Lithuanians, and Estonians. Much thanks, much appreciation. Much appreciation. The self-proclaimed president of Belarus, Lukashenko, said that Minsk received Iskander anti-aircraft missile systems from the Russian Federation. According to him, we need to thank the Russians because they helped a lot last year. Aww. What a nice union. I'm not even talking here about nuclear weapons, which put everyone in their place. As soon as nuclear weapons appeared in Belarus, everyone lowered their wings. And the neighbors, ours, and others, the dictator added. Yeah, right. No one, literally, like, it's so funny how he keeps saying that, like, someone wanted to invade Belarus. No one's interested in Belarus. Literally, no one is interested in Belarus. The only reason Belarus was even on the radar is because it was helping Russia. No one cares about Belarus. Like, no one cares about... Oh, thank you, Niels. Thank you for the memberships. No one cares about Belarusian dictators. No one cares about like what they do. No one's trying to invade Belarus. No one's trying to do anything to them. So it's so funny that he keeps saying like, you know, we were in this great danger of an invasion. And then like, you know, and then Russia helped us stop it. It's like, sir, no one cares about you. No one. And thank you so much, Niels. That's so nice of you. Swiss President Viola Amherd wants to invite Russia to the Global Peace Summit. Amherd said that without the participation of Russia, the summit would allegedly be incomplete. Aw, really? Because Russia really wants to participate in peace negotiations. It's so visible from like, you know, Russia bombing a hotel in Kharkiv the other day, Russia killing like, was it 150 French soldiers while they airstrike on Kharkiv? Russia constantly killing people, Russia carpet bombing cities, Russia, you know, bombing Kyiv after saying that after pushing out that propaganda article that Russia quietly signals for peace. Yeah, Russia is definitely doing a lot of lovely things towards, you know, peace. So they really should be at peace talks. Yeah. I'm not even going to read the rest of it because it's basically her saying that Switzerland is like neutral and talks to everyone. And Heroyam Slava. And I hope that Republic of Ichkeria comes back to its existence and that the Ichkerian Chechens are going to be able to come back home and make the country their own again. So we do stand with Chahar Tudayev as much as you guys stand with us. Defense industry enterprises that produce ammunition for Ukraine may stop for 2 days due to strikes in Finland. Ille. It is reported that the actions are likely to take place at 4 plants of the ammunition and gunpowder company Namo. The general director of the company, Raimo Helasmaki, believes that the protests planned for February 1st and 2nd may affect the supply of weapons to Ukraine. The shutdown and the subsequent return to the design capacity of the nitrocellulose plant in Vihtavur, which produces gunpowder, will take more than 2 days. The head of the Namo noted that the factories do not supply ammunition to Ukraine directly, but are purchased by the defense forces of Finland, after which the weapons are exported. A total of 450 employees work at the Namo factories, and about 350 employees intend to join the strikes. At the same time, the Ministry of Defense of Finland claims that the shutdown of enterprises will not affect the quantity or quality of supplies for Ukraine. Ille writes that the Industrial Union of Finland has announced large-scale strikes that will affect several industries. About 60,000 people are expected to participate in the actions across the country. The reason for the strike was dissatisfaction with the government's labor market reform program. Heroyam Slava Kurt, and nice to see you. Well, I mean, I guess we will not know until it does happen and until we see the consequences, but it does, and we see what the consequences of that are. I do highly doubt that a 2-day strike does not influence anything. I don't think it's going to make, a lot of long-term impact or like a huge impact in general, but 2 days worth of ammo production is quite a bit of ammo production, to be honest, especially gunpowder. So there's that. And that is, привіт, дякую. And that is desperately trying to undermine the union. Yeah, exactly. So the strikes in Poland, the strikes of workers, I do see a pattern of a lot of Russia pushing these strikes to happen, to be honest. And not all of them obviously are driven by Russia. Thank you, Joe. But a lot of them are, and a lot of them do have roots from like Russian collaborators and Russians who influence those, or they take problems that already sort of exist and they exacerbate them just to sort of like make them seem more prevalent and much worse. And Russia that's what Russia does. Russia takes problems that already exist in society and weaponizes them. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go check on something in my living room and I'll be back in a minute. Very good. Okay. Well, so that is all the news that I have for you for today. I was gonna see if my friend wanted to comment on, some military stuff, but they're asleep on the couch, like completely passed out. So, probably not. But yeah, the puppies are good. Cindy is passed out. Her ears just went up because she heard her name. Liv is being Liv. Got a marker. Wait. So at the end of the live tonight, we are at $4,514.06. So thank you very much to everyone who participates in the fundraisers and everyone who watches the lives and everyone who continues to follow Ukraine and everyone who continues to spread information. And, I really, 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 really am grateful to you. And almost 2 drones, yeah. And I will be seeing you tomorrow at around the same time, maybe a little earlier. I'll schedule this in a little bit. I will schedule it a little bit in advance. Oh, thank you. And you will know earlier. What time do you usually begin? Like 10:30? No, like 11. 10:30, 11 Kyiv time. Thank you, Chad. And yeah, and I will be seeing you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for like a low energy live tonight. I am quite tired. I've been traveling and I have all these like things ahead, and I have these big news that I'm going to share with you next week, hopefully. Thank you, Grandma Dude. All right, I will see you tomorrow. Pozdrawiam, Poland, Warszawa. Dobry wieczór. All right. Okay. Good to see you get some sleep. Will do. Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye. Good to see you guys. Good night. Good night. Good night. So good to see all of you, honestly. Bye.